can we say the second match in here, Istanbul, is a bad deja vu?
Is that?
Bad deja vu.
Bad deja vu. Yeah. There were a lot of similarities between 3 months ago and now. We've had multiple chances to score. After 10-15 minutes, you expect us to lead, and then their first attack leads to a set-piece goal. Last time was a penalty, now it was a set-piece goal. And another goal disallowed from us, so a lot of similarities too.
What about your thoughts in the last match in Anfield? What about your thoughts?
What my thoughts are? You play over 2 games against each other, and now it's half-time, they're 1-0 up. We can do better, I'm 100% sure about that, but even with the game we've played, we had enough chances to score goals. We didn't, but next week we play at Anfield, and our fans will be so supportive for us, because I think that was today the situation for Galatasaray. They had great support from their fans. It was difficult for us to play in, difficult for another person on the pitch to manage the game. So let's hope we can create the same atmosphere next week at Anfield.
Thank you. Good luck in the next round.
Liverpool's game then.
I thought it was a very frustrating performance. Didn't do enough at the top end, even though they had enough chances. And they were really vulnerable at the back, which I haven't seen for a while. Anything that went into the penalty area, they looked as if they were going to concede. And I think Ibu Konate had a night that he should quickly forget, really, because he looked in 6s and 7s at a lot of time of the evening.
Yeah. Joe, what did you think of it overall? Was it a difficult game for Liverpool, or actually do you give Galatasaray credit?
I'll give Galatasaray massive credit. They were on it to the very end. I think they deserved the win tonight. You know, Liverpool, I don't think Liverpool will be too concerned about the away leg, but I think on a 90-95 minute performance, there are a few bad ones out there and something they want to get out of their system quickly.
Well, let's go back to seeing the only goal in that game, and this was Lemina's goal, his first Champions League goal, Maka.
Yeah, again, Osimhen at the far post just heads it back into a danger area. You know, nobody really picking up the big number 9. As I said, Konate's just standing there on his own. I'm not necessarily blaming him because he's marking an area, but you have to appreciate who the danger man is, and it's Osimhen. And then Kerkez and Ekitike not doing enough to influence Lemina at all.
Joe, this is the disallowed goal for Galatasaray with Osimhen offside. Konate's quite lucky here.
Yeah, he is. It's not a good moment. Like I say, he had some really difficult moments tonight. Wasn't one of his best performances. I think it's Yilmaz who's offside, and as he makes that direct approach to the ball there, I know he's not involved in it, and the 2 guys that are directly involved are not offside. But I think Konate will be absolutely delighted to look up and see that flag up. This
is where perhaps he's been unlucky, Maka?
Yeah, and I think Liverpool should have been awarded the goal, Laura, to be honest, because if we all slow it down, which we will do now, you see Konate goes up, it brushes his hands onto Davinson Sanchez's head, as you can clearly see, but the ball then hits the goalkeeper and is going away from goal. You'll see it, and then actually it's Virgil van Dijk, and then goes, this is the better angle, Sanchez onto the goalkeeper's leg, then onto Van Dijk's heel, back onto the goalkeeper's backside, and then it spins into the net. So actually, accidentally brushing off Konate's hands, it doesn't go directly into the goal. It probably should have stood. Saying that, I don't think Liverpool actually deserved a draw, because they need to liven up. At Anfield, they have to be infinitely much better than they were tonight. They will be, because the crowd will go crazy. It wasn't good enough tonight. OK, guys, getting a little bit lively behind.
Our third booking over the course, so he'll be gone. Osimhen might be a doubt now as well. And it should be mentioned, Galatasaray were pretty shambolic away against Juventus in the last round. That's why there might be optimism for Liverpool fans, not necessarily how they performed tonight.
No, I think history tells you in this competition that Galatasaray are a really tough team to play against at home. When they go away, they lose all concentration, they lose their patience, they get a bit off the hook with everything you do to get a player sent off. So I really fancy Liverpool away from home. But it was a game of playing on people's mistakes tonight for both teams. They were making mistakes, Liverpool was making mistakes. Liverpool could have 3 goals in the first 5 minutes. Galatasaray should have had some more goals as well. It was a strange performance for a Champions League game, that.
Any positives for Liverpool besides the Anfield factor in the second leg? Well, anything from tonight, do you think?
I think the biggest positive is again the back 4. You mentioned Sanchez now misses the second game. Don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because I think they gave up so many opportunities. Not clear-cut opportunities. I think Ekitike is probably the biggest chance of the game, and the goalkeeper makes a brilliant save in a 1v1 situation. But again, Nicky's right. There's so many mistakes from both both teams, sloppy passes into midfield, bubbling stuff. And this is the Champions League, last 16. The standard was poor from both teams, really. But I really do think at home next week, they can't be that poor, Liverpool, in the home league. At Anfield, European nights are very, very special. And I think they'll have enough to go through.
Keep saying it, though. Keep saying about Liverpool this season. Can't be as poor as this next week.
Pretty special here as well. Galatasaray in front of their own fans. They've got the kids out and everything. They seem to feel pretty good about themselves. A few of the players were really clenching the fists at full time. They're backing themselves, Kenny.
No, I'll give these a bit of credit. They actually surprised me in terms of the quality of their attack and play. Not just talk about Osimhen, we all knew how good he was, but off the flanks, Yilmaz and Noah Lang, they really positive in terms of everything they did. Put good quality crosses into the box. And that front three from Galatasaray, far more effective than the Liverpool front three over the course of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think that what you're looking at here, you're looking at the respect of Liverpool's football club, the history of that football club, and I think that's why they're celebrating so much. I don't think they're celebrating thinking they're going through by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a great result for them. It's a big scalp.
A big scalp, only one leg so far, but well deserved from Galatasaray's point of view. You could see Arne and some of the Liverpool players giving out to the referee, but Galatasaray could have a few qualms about their goal being disallowed. So you wouldn't be pinning this on the ref, would you?
Probably after the break, but I think the officials got both decisions just right. I mean, we think on the first one, on Galatasaray's goal, we think Yilmaz is given an offside because he sort of tracks across Robertson perhaps and blocks off his line of clearance. Perhaps, we don't know. We'll have a look after the break. And again, we do think that it's come off Konaté's arm for the Liverpool goal that was disallowed. So I don't think Arne Slot and his team can have too many complaints.
No, chaotic kind of a night in the end. That in a moment. 1-0 to Galatasaray. Not a great game in terms of quality, as the lads are saying, but a lot of chances and excitement and a bit madcap, you'd have to say. So we can go back to the only goal of the game, believe it or not, Nicky. That was the Lemina one in the first half. Poor defensively from Liverpool. Yeah,
we spoke about it at half-time. I think defensively it's not great from the way they mark from zonal, with McAllister having to pick up their biggest guy, header back across, and a brave header from the guy who's put the ball in net. It was ridiculous for me, the way they marked the zonal thing with McAllister there. He's not got no kind of defensive knowledge in him, and he's a smartest man on the pitch.
So are you blaming, as Kenny did at half-time, Arne Slot more than any of the individuals? This is the system and they're just going by the blueprint?
I wonder what Arne Slot's doing there, to be fair, but McAllister has got to be a bit stronger, but he's not got that in him. It's like saying to me, go and take 7 people and go and score a goal. You just can't do it. You're not got in your locker.
I think Van Dijk's got to be stronger. I'm not talking about necessarily on the pitch. I think in the dressing room and the lead up to that game, and to say to Slot, no, we're going to change it. There's going to be a change. I'm going to go and mark. Trust me. Let me go and do a job on Osimhen. Trust me on this. A man of my experience. And I think Slot, if you're hearing that from your captain and leader, I think you accept it, because I think that was the change that they needed to do tonight, and I would have stopped that goal.
How many goals do you see conceded from the zonal setup? There's so many teams set up zonally, and we were talking about it before. It's everyone just passes on the responsibility. If us three are standing in the zone and the guy scores in the middle of us, he's blaming me. I'm looking at him. It's not my fault. It's not my man. Somebody has to take responsibility on the pitch.
Because I've almost never heard. I don't think any pundit has ever been in the studio and said, "I love zonal."
There is a reason for it. Your man marking, you lose your balance, somebody gets away from you. It's kind of your man. You know what I mean? It's kind of black and white. But if you're marking zones, no matter where somebody arrives in the box, you should have somebody in that area to go and deal with it. There's no area left unoccupied.
So that's the
kind of advantage of the zonal. Yeah, but there is kind of drawbacks to it. Players getting a run and jump. I don't know how. It doesn't matter how good Van Dijk or Konaté is. If somebody 6'3" gets a 5-yard run and jump and arrives into that area, the penalty box, it's going to be hard to stop.
There's an argument for both, isn't there? You can go on for 10 years, this argument about zonal, but the big thing for me is whoever's being the blocker has to have some sort of defensive bone in his body. McAllister doesn't. So straight away, forget about the zonal, forget about man marking. The blocker has to be a physical defender that can go and block someone of a reasonable size. And he's not that man. It's bizarre.
Yeah, you want to see that grappling. A lot of teams do.
Just somebody in there. Somebody there's got some physical presence about him and some defensive knowledge about him to block that person that's coming in. Because, like Kenny said, you're not going to beat him in the air, but you've got to block him and get against him.
But then again, it has to be an amazing header from Osimhen to score from there. So again, I mentioned at half-time, Van Dijk's watching the ball go over his head, and then he watches Osimhen head it, and the guy he was with, Lemina, is peeled off the back of him and has a header from 2 yards. So sometimes it's not always the first contact, and I agree with Buddy, McAllister's not a defensive-minded player to deal with that. But then the second ball as well got to be dealt with too.
You got to marry them both. You can predominantly do zonal, but you can earmark one of the opposition players, recognise how good of a header the football he is, and get your best, not necessarily your best header, but like Nicky said, your best marker who understands how to mark. Not necessarily go and win the header, but certainly prevent the opposition player from getting a free header.
It was good by Osimhen though, wasn't doesn't he? He gets up high, a bit of hang
some
time.
spring. He did one in the first half as well when he could have scored a goal at back post against Van Dijk. He's got some leap on him.
He thought he did have a goal in the second half. Galatasaray thought they had a goal disallowed for offside. Shay, what we're looking out for here is if Yilmaz in the build-up is clearly attempting to play the ball, which he's probably not, or making an obvious action which clearly impacts on the ability of an opponent to play the ball. The opponent being Andy Robertson.
Well, thankfully for Konate, the night he had, it just was a mess. Look, I think Yilmaz is offside here, but you watch where the ball ends up. It comes across to Konate more than anything. Robertson's never getting that ball. Then he makes another mistake, Konate, and then he just gets his feet all muddled up at the end of it. And for me, I think they're very, very lucky to get away with that.
If that's a foul, the game's becoming non-contact. Because that's a nothing.
No, but I think the linesman's give it for offside.
It's just because he's definitely offside, so it's whether or not he's making that obvious action, whether or not he's impacting the ability of Andy Robertson to play the ball.
But if Andy Robertson still wants to get past him, he can get past him.
But I don't think Andy Robertson can clear the ball. I think it's going to cross the Konate's space to clear the ball, and he makes a mistake then.
If he'd been smarter there, Yilmaz, and assessed the situation quicker, he should have stayed away from Robertson. If he'd have stayed away from Robertson and made no contact with him, Robertson, the lads are right, isn't getting back.
Are you sure Robertson's not getting there? I know.
No, he's not. He's not getting. Even if he doesn't make that's the mistake that he's made, getting that left arm out and making contact with Robertson. That's why the decision's been given. But he's not getting back regardless, and it's a horrendous mistake.
Oh my God,
from
that
Konate.
is
So lucky.
Bad by Konate, and even that second one he could have cleared, Nicky.
No, he's
one of those
the lads had a nightmare all night, to be fair, and that just summed it up, and he got away with murders with that one.
Yeah, so we're all saying that Liverpool are lucky with that one, yeah?
I think very lucky, yeah.
The Liverpool disallowed goal, then they took a long time to look at this, Kenny. We'll take a little time to look at it as well. It's been disallowed for handball, and we're looking out for here is...
Put my glasses on.
Basically, who puts this ball in the net? Is it a Liverpool player? If so, they've scored directly, and even if it's accidental, then the goal is disallowed. Yeah,
the goalkeeper's right. Buttock is involved here as well, I think, at some point. We feel the initial contact has come from Konate's right arm. But for me, having looked at it about like 28 times...
There's another one, though. Just see at the end.
It's that last contact for me. Looks as if it hits Van Dijk's left elbow.
But you think it was Van Dijk's
I think it's Van Dijk's final touch with his left elbow. He doesn't touch it there. I think the contact initially is Konate. The ball drops down. For me, the final touch comes from Van Dijk's left elbow, which directs it into the goal.
I'm just looking at Konate's right arm behind Van Dijk's elbow here.
What are you looking at?
Anyone else?
What are you looking
I
at?
think it's definitely nearly even a double handball. I think it hits both. I think it hits Konate initially, and then it sort of flicks off Van Dijk's arm after that. I think they got the right decision. It was very tricky for VAR, and it's interesting that the referee didn't go over to the monitor we see in the Premier League. He's let the VAR make that decision and go, that's a handball, disallow the goal.
What are you saying on that one?
Pass.
Couldn't be bothered with that.
It was a melee, wasn't it? You just got to go by the letter of the law there, and I think the referee has done that, and in that case, it's not.
Does that sum up Liverpool's night, that was the closest they got to scoring a goal? That they weren't really creating much. They did have chances, to be fair, and we'll see a few of those later on. But even those, a lot of them are coming from mistakes by Galatasaray, and that the sort of end-to-end nature of the first half. They weren't really fluid.
No real pattern to their play, in general play. In terms of opening up, a little bit of combination play. Didn't see any real natural width. I'm always looked at the Liverpool team in terms of shape and structure. I don't really see it too loose. I always hear about rotation in the modern game, people interchanging position. There could be too much of it at times.
These are the chances they did have.
Yeah, these are the chances they did have. This is kind
of good stuff there, to be fair.
This is probably their best bit of football. Shay said McAllister could have taken this on first time. Technically, he's probably good enough. It wasn't a great ball to Wirtz, so that wasn't an easy finish. But yeah, when you're showing a hopeful punt from Konate over the crossbar, you know you're struggling a little bit in terms of chances for Liverpool. This start of the second half was decent, but this is 25-30 yards out. A shot from this.
He has that in his locker, though, doesn't he? Obviously.
Yeah, long throw-ins into the box, kind of corner kicks. But I'm talking general play in terms of a play on. Very little of that all during the game. Again, hopeful punt from Szoboszlai at the edge of the box.
This is the chance, Kenny, isn't it?
This is the big chance. And this is what I say. This lad's done well. Don't get me wrong. He scored a number of goals, Owen. But in this instant, for me, he's not a killer. He's not on the level of Isaac, for me, in that position, scores that goal. He didn't. And they didn't have too many of them on the night.
I think away from home as well, you're not going to have many chances. And you know, obviously, it's a knockout stage of the Champions League. Again, can he head that down into the ground? But that 1v1 situation, it's a brilliant save from Kakir, the goalkeeper. Fantastic save from him. But again, Kenny's right. Clinical in that position. You're not going to get many chances away from home in the Champions League. He has to be more clinical. He has to take that chance, in my opinion.
Yeah, Ekitike, not a killer. Was it Kenny that said that? Would you agree with that?
In comparison to Isaac,
I think he's a top player. I mean, Kenny had done a really good piece before the game about him, and for France as well, he plays off that left side more. And I think if you look at Arne Slot's summer, we talk about the recruitment, the amount of money he spent, and I think they spent that for him to be on the left, Isak down the middle, and I think he's more suited for that left-hand side position. And he's right. I think if Isak's in that 1v1 position, I think he scores.
A lot of questions for Arne Slot to answer. We mentioned it's his 100th game. Yep. Nicky, if he'd won tonight, he would have gone past Kenny Dalglish's record for the first 100. As it is, he's tied with the great man, which is no mean feat. But this season, it's never really got going, has it? Even when they've picked up a few results here.
No, it's been a strange one, hasn't it? It's gone from there to down here. You can understand drop off a little bit, but they've gone such a distance from where they was last year, and you can guarantee the manager will be doing exactly the same things he was doing last year. They're training the same, the times were off the same, the recovery was the same, the diet will be the same. So he's got to be scratching his head wondering what's going on. For me tonight, the big thing for me tonight was the experience on that football pitch in European games and international games for Liverpool. They never tried to control that game once. They were rushing everything, like not taking the extra touch, not taking the extra pass, going down one side, coming back out and going on the other side. There was no flow to the game. There was no tempo to the pace of the game. They never slowed it down, speeded it up. It was like very much like you said, basketball game. It was one pace that way, one pace that way. Which is funny
because Slot's been criticising this season for trying to have too much control and trying to calm
tonight away from home in a European tie, and it's a difficult place to play like that. You have got to take the extra pass. You've got to control the game as much as you can. You've got to basically kill the game, bore people to death, and then try and hit goal.
You do a bit of both. That's how you mix it. You can quicken the tempo for 5 to 10 minutes, and that's where you take the game. I didn't think they couldn't quicken the game and get those quality passes, those little combinations that they were looking for. The better quality for me came from Galatasaray down the sides in terms of combination. Liverpool for me were so unbalanced and lacking in invention and quality in forward areas of the pitch, and that's where Slot has to find the solutions going forward.
Maybe he was happy with 1-0 tonight. Like maybe thought, because as I'm looking at the bench, like Salah had a quiet night, he got taken off, Frimpong came on, and he every time he got 1v1 against the fullback, he just knocked it back. I think he'd do something different. The star man in the last few weeks for Liverpool has been Ria Ngamoa, and we didn't even see him tonight. I mean, Wirtz came off, he brought Gakpo on. Why not give Rio 15 minutes to actually maybe try and get a goal? Because he's very...
After 70 minutes, I don't even know it, but Van Dijk was doing that to his keeper all the time, slowed down. They were happy with it. But the way that game went and the chances that they had, they just wanted to calm it down and leave it and go back with 1-0.
Well, as we were saying, Galatasaray had plenty of chances. We'll have a look at those after.
Liverpool, because it is Galatasaray that drew first blood. Let's have a little look at how it was done. It was Lamina that scored the goal. Where did it come from, Joe?
Yeah, early on, Liverpool, they looked shaky. They had a few chances, actually, and then this corner here ends up McAllister marking Osimhen. I don't know what's gone on for that, but Lemina just ghosts off the back of Soboslai and Van Dijk. They just don't pick him up here. Osimhen rises. It's a brilliant header, Maka, back across. Yeah. And he can't believe his luck. First Champions League goal.
Very frustrating start, isn't it, for Liverpool? The way they attacked, they didn't attack with any real purpose, even though they had wonderful chances. And in the air, defensively, really, really vulnerable. That was an awful goal to concede. Osimhen, the most dangerous player on the pitch in a Galatasaray shirt, winning the header, heading it back into the danger area. Konate not picking up with anybody. And then other players falling asleep, and then a simple header at the far post. And
Maka, Liverpool have had chances, and one most importantly was before that goal.
Yeah, Liverpool started really well and exploited Galatasaray playing out from the back, and this is a great chance. I don't know how to explain how good a chance that is, and it's really weak from Florian Wirtz. I don't know, doesn't threaten the goals yards wise, but that's on his right foot, and even this is again laid into his path. Fires it into the ground, no real passion to thrash at the ball and get it on target. And this is a Konate shot over the top, but very frustrating first half performance, Liverpool, up top and defensively, because Galatasaray look as if they can score every time the ball goes in the air.
Yeah, Liverpool lucky it's just 1-0 at the moment.
Yeah, Mamardashvili just had that kind of shot cross coming in, gets a little bit lucky with that one, but no getting away from it. This one here from Davinson Sanchez is a really good save. And he had a really important 10-minute spell where Galatasaray were really pushing. That's an excellent save. It just keeps Liverpool fighting in this game.
Yeah, it definitely does, Maka.
Yeah, but, I mean, the distance between Van Dijk and Konate, I mean, Konate just a swing and a miss there, that's poor. But the distance between them is too big. Any cross into the areas, people see him in between them getting chances on target. That has to stop in the second half.
Arne Slot will need to be giving them a good team talk at half-time.
Same way the scoreline finished the last time these two teams played earlier in the competition, but you get the feeling there might be more goals in this, Kenny. Rob Daly described it as a frantic first half. Definitely a frantic opening salvo by both teams.
Yeah, more of a basket case of a game for the whole of the 45 minutes. But yeah, the way they started Galatasaray, literally all over the place. And you felt, 5 minutes in, Liverpool have to score here. It was just like kamikaze stuff from Galatasaray, inviting pressure, conceding on the edge of the box. He has to do far better here, Wirtz. But it just continued. Strange from Galatasaray. was panicky defending. Just need a little bit of composure from Liverpool, a little bit more care maybe with the final pass. This was Szoboszlai again driving from midfield, last-ditch defending. But it was all Liverpool. Again, look at Galatasaray giving it away in the side of their box. That's composure I'm talking about from Liverpool, just picking the right pass at the right moment. And just when you felt as a bit, they're off the hook, not getting the early goal, Galatasaray force a corner, mistake from Konate, they paid the penalty.
Yeah, Konate's very poor to give away the corner in the first place, but the defending here, you've got McAllister around the back, it's a mismatch with Osimhen, and then of course Lemina's just free as a bird. I think he peels off the back of Van Dijk as well, he turns over, watches the ball, and it's a really poor goal to give away, and especially, you know, we talk about Sepp, look at McAllister here at the backbone, it's a total mismatch. It reminded me of Dan Burman, who scored the final last year, and then Lemina again, he just peels off Van Dijk turns his back, looks at the ball. I know it's not marking, but at the same time you've got to latch on to people in the box, and it's a poor goal to give away.
Yeah, it was so against the run of play though, wasn't it, after 7 minutes, and Galatasaray, to be fair, probably kicked on a bit from there. Liverpool had their chances as well, would you say, Nicky?
Yeah, they did. They had a few chances to start early on to score a goal, and we said they've got to try and get an early goal and keep them to 0, but they've had some chances in the hit. I don't think it's a great pass from McAllister, but he's not struck the ball well at all. There's a bit of scuffy. Same again. Going through here, bad mistake by a defender, which has been happening in the first half. And this Konate gets the ball here. He doesn't want to shoot, so but he has a great strike, and he's not too far away. There's a great effort. It's not his strengths, but the great strike and just a bit over.
Yeah, so they are creating, Kenny. They're still in this game.
Not enough though. Need to create a little bit more with the amount of possession they had. Like I said, in terms of decision making, quality the final pass and quality the finish as well. Viz should have done better with those two glaring chances. But these look dangerous, Galatasaray. These look as if they have another goal in them.
They look dangerous as well, but Galatasaray at the back are all over the shop as well. You know, you talk about a basketball game. If they can play anything in the final third, Liverpool, they'll get a goal definitely.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's created anything too much. I think a lot of it's come from mistakes from defensive both sides, and the defence on both sides have been terrible.
Yeah. Great for us, though, in terms of watching it. So we'll have a look at some of those Galatasaray chances then, Shay.
Yeah. I mean, again, Konate, for some reason, he has these games, he has some crazy games, and even Van Dijk, he's catching a bit of Konate off him, because both of them are playing. Osimhen, he looks a real handful. We talked about him before the game, don't we? Some of the he makes and stuff. And again, this is their weakness. This is maybe why I know I tipped them for to maybe win this. But again, they look all over the place. 6s and 7s at the back. Is that because of the midfield cover? Is that because individual errors at the back that Nicky mentioned as well? You know, get to the ball, stop crossing into the box, pick up in the box. It's so lackadaisy defensively, you know. I think this is a decent save from Marashvili. Kenny may disagree, because he has to wait to see if it goes past anyone. That's a brilliant save from Sanchez, a really top save from the goalkeeper. Keeps them in the tie with obviously losing the game already. Again, Konate as well. I don't know. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but some of the games, Konate looks like he doesn't even want to be on the pitch. He's making mistakes, just basic errors, and his head doesn't seem to be in the right place, you know?
Yeah, he looks a little bit off it. But credit to them, when they get into the attacking areas, they don't hang around. They get the ball into those wide areas. They're looking to put that ball in early, putting good quality delivery into the box, you know, not overcomplicating the game, too many passes in front of Liverpool. They're going for the juggler in behind. They've got some good movement in there, and they've really impressed. They probably carried more of an attacking threat, to be honest with you, than Liverpool in the opening 45 minutes.
It was barely